Hey, and welcome to another episode of Field Notes, insights and observations for the travel marketer. My name is Eric Hultgren. On today's episode, there's a new study out breaking out travel trends for 2025 into 4 distinct categories. I'm joined by Sara Dyer to talk about those 4 categories and what you can do to connect with your next traveler. As I said, our guest today, my dear friend and coworker, Sara Dyer. How are you, my friend?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me, Eric.
So you and I are here to chop it up a little bit about this Snapchat trends that they just released. They partnered with Publicis and NRG to create 4 trends that they're seeing in the travel space, and you and I both thought they were super interesting and wanted to dive into it a little bit. So let's start with the first one, because I think the first one... most travel marketers are dealing with at least half of this. The other one might terrify them a little bit. But trend number 1 is AR and AI and how they've revolutionized travel shopping. And I'm wondering if you have any insights and thoughts on how marketers should look at. Let's take them in 2 parts, so like it's not too overwhelming. So let's start with AI. Like, what are ways and you think we should think about AI for travel shopping? And then we can talk a little bit about AR and maybe explain how that might look.
Yeah, so for AI, I think it's super important for destinations and attractions to have really good content on their website so that people who are looking through AI chatbots can find that kind of information, whether it's a sample itinerary or lodging suggestions, just having really relevant content on the website so that when people are looking on Chat GPT or Claude or whatever it may be, that the bot will pull in that information and actually suggest your destination or attraction.
And for some context, friends, 72% of the survey, and it was almost 4,000 people, say that they're using search, traditional search, read Google, less, and doing what Sara just said, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, whatever they're doing. The other part of this, though, is something that I don't see very many destinations or travel marketers messing around with. It's the idea of AR, or augmented reality. And this is maybe a little bit, and I would love your take, Sara, maybe a little bit future casting of this kind of like try it before you buy it kind of travel shopping, where you're able to go into the hotel room before you show up and walk around at your own leisure, not just a typical 360 view. What do you think about AR in travel, and how far in your mind are we away from this being a norm as opposed to kind of a magic trick at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're super close to where we'll start seeing this everywhere, or at least we should. I saw the stat from this study where it said that 79% of respondents said that virtual tours make it easier to explore destinations that they might not have considered before. So it's just kind of about, getting that traveler to be in that mind space of where that destination or attraction is and actually being able to experience it. And that will, I think, increase the likelihood of consideration for them to visit that place in the future.
All right, so let's get on to the second trend, because this is a space that you and I play in all the time. The trend number 2 is that social platforms ignite the purchase journey. And so on top of AI, they're also bypassing search and doing search in a completely different way. Can you jump into this a little bit and talk about how they're using social to search as opposed to traditionally going to Google or Bing?
It's clear that social media plays a huge role in how people discover new destinations. I mean, social proof is very real. People tend to look at the actions or behaviors of others to determine what they should be doing. So I think it's very important that brands stay present on all the platforms where potential visitors could be. Whether it's sharing user-generated content, collaborating with influencers, or running targeted ads. When I just scroll through my Instagram feed, I see all of the amazing places that all the people I follow are going, and just kind of creating that FOMO as well. I think it's really important for either attractions or destinations to jump on that for sure and just be everywhere.
So stay with that with me for a second, Sara. When you're, and I know you're being a little bit glib, but you're being real for sure. When you see someone that you follow in a place, what goes through your brain? And like, if it's some place that's reasonable, right, that you could go to, how long is that journey for you from seeing like, oh, I didn't know I could do that in Montana to getting on a plane and going to Montana?
Yeah, well, I like to really heavily research places. If I see, Gabby is over in Montana, like you said, and she's at a really cool ranch riding some horses, and she tags the destination or the attraction she's at. I like to really dig into where this place is, what's so cool about it, how do I get there? I like to do some front work on the research side and the dreaming phase, if you will, to figure out if I can really see myself there. And that's where those virtual tours would be really helpful for someone like me who doesn't know anything about Montana or what's there.
So merging trend number 2 into trend number 3, which is essentially influencer marketing, what are some ways, Sara, that DMOs, travel marketers, destinations can incite users to create content they can use in their own outreach to new travelers?
A couple ways you could do that is a super simple, have signage at your destination or attraction with your social handles, with the hashtags that encourages visitors to share their experience and tag them. Another way they could do that is to have Instagrammable spots at their attraction or destination where people will just naturally want to take a photo. So, a pretty backdrop with the name of your place, just a natural place where people want to take photos and share those photos. And also collaborating with influencers as well, I think will be a big key in generating that user-generated content.
And there were 2 stats out of this study that I thought were really stunning. Actually, 3 of them. Stat number 1, 62% feel that creator reviews are more trustworthy than anything that the location could do. And then this is kind of a 1-2 punch that 66% think that they're more relevant and 64% think they're more authentic than anything else that they see in that space. So this user-generated content, Sara, becomes super vital for these locations and destinations to make a part of their campaign.
I think that's a big key. And, not only does it go play to that social proof element, but it also generates content for your brand that you can reshare and, of course, inspire consideration and get people in that travel funnel.
So let's talk a little bit deeper about strategy for a second. What are ways that travel marketers can maintain engagement with those travelers in all of what we might call the phases of travel?
Yes, I think it's very important to speak to all travelers who are in each stage of the travel journey. For the dream phase, you can utilize tactics like influencer promotion and targeted ads to really lift that brand awareness and increase consideration. For the planning phase, like I said earlier, have great content on your website that AI chatbots can pick up when visitors are planning their trip. With sample itineraries, lodging recommendations, etc. For the book phase, simplify the booking process through social platforms. Make sure that entire process is super seamless so that someone doesn't get frustrated and give up halfway through. For the share phase, encouraging user-generated content and positive reviews for that social proof will be really important, not only for the travelers themselves, but for future potential travelers.
Now, the last trend is one that I think we in the marketing space, and especially if you spend a lot of time in social, we tend to aspirationally leap to anything that can be viral. How can I get millions of views? But this last trend leans all the way the other direction. And it's trend 3. It's that friends and family supercharge these decisions. And I'm wondering, did that part surprise you? Because the 4 stats they have in the study are wild to me. The impact that friends and family have on not just knowing a place exists, but keying me in on making that decision more so than a micro, nano, or large scale influencer.
We shouldn't forget about word of mouth here. You're talking to your friend who just got back from an amazing vacation in Japan and they're telling you about all the cool places they went. That will really resonate with you, especially when you trust that person's opinion. So, viral videos are great, but we can't forget the importance of word of mouth as well.
We're obviously reading from a study that Snapchat did. We spend a ton of time studying both Reels and TikTok. But we run into this time and time again is destinations, DMOs, travel marketers who are struggling to figure out the fastest way to start doing short form. Do you have any insights into kind of the shortcut or the hack, if you will, to start creating short form video quickly?
Everyone might not have a full-time content creator on their team, or maybe not even full-time marketers. So some quick things that I would think of that you could do is just, take some great photos that you have, gather those, put those into some slideshows or montages with a cute little jingle in the back and maybe some words and your logo. That would be a great way to get that done. Or a front desk person or a salesperson, whatever it may be, could do kind of like a day in the life of what I do for the destination or what I do for the attraction, and just kind of having like a diary of that follows them around. I think that would be a great way for short form video as well.
What is the most exciting thing you're seeing in travel marketing today that you look at and you're like, I'm so excited that this is happening and I can't wait to be a part of it, share it, tell stories about it? What excites you in this space right now?
So I think the ability that AI is giving travelers to really not only book and plan itineraries, but to discover destinations is really cool. These chatbots are learning everything about, not everything, hopefully, about you, but the important things when it comes to what kind of things you like to do, or whatever activities you're interested in. It learns that, and it can suggest places that you might not have ever thought of before. So I think that's a really cool thing that's happening. What would your answer be?
I would say the most exciting thing for me right now is seeing how all of this content that we now have access to has flattened the world in a way that it hasn't before. As you just said, the ability for you to be influenced, maybe not influenced, but introduced. We'll use the Montana example. Introduced to Montana, and an influencer that you watch that's at a dude ranch riding on horses or whatever. And like you said, you don't know anything about Montana. And in any other platform, and that's including Facebook at this point, you wouldn't have bumped into that at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we move from the social internet, where we're connected to connections of connections, to the interest internet, where that can show up in your feed based purely on other things that you've interacted with, just to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's really exciting to me, because I feel that the more you travel, the more empathetic you are to humankind. And I think that's a good thing for everybody. Sarah, thanks for the time.
Thank you. Have a good one.